Next, since this is Shanghai, we have to do a spotlight on media and entertainment. And we have Ning Wright, partner of KPMG, to moderate the next panel. And we have as our panelists, Perry Chu, Managing Director of Steamboat Ventures, and Peter Li of China Media Capital. So I'll let Ning take it away.
Thank you, Rebecca. Actually, I got the luxury of having two panelists, so hopefully we don't have to ask too many questions. But that's not to stop you, but I think we're allocated extra 5 minutes for the additional panelist. So what we have been seeing in China is a lot of growth or talk about growth in the media and entertainment industry. There's a number of deregulation policies and guidelines coming out, but how much of that is actually real demands and real money, or how much of it is just talking? So perhaps in the next 20 minutes or so, we can find that out. So first of all, what do you see in terms of investment trends in the media and entertainment industry, both in terms of inbound and outbound in the entertainment industry? Maybe, Perry, you can start first.
Sure. Steamboat Ventures is a venture fund affiliated with the Walt Disney Company. So obviously we're a foreign US dollar fund. In terms of the investment trend that we have seen, traditionally most US dollar funds invest in China, invest in peripheral and technology-related deals. They try to stay away from content because of the content risk. And this is a fairly restricted sector for us to play. And although recently we start to see some changes in this trend as well, with companies doing content also start to take U.S. investments. My colleagues from GGV, for instance, they've invested in some of the content production animation companies, and I think that's also a trend that's actually happening.
Yeah, and CMC is one of the few media and entertainment sector-focused fund operating in China. We have both an RMB fund and US dollar fund, and our past portfolio of companies are mostly in the content area, and we are actively looking at the distribution, the channels, the entertainment-related technology, and so forth. So we are branching out. And we think most of the top guys in our company are previously media operators in China, so we do see ourselves and kind of having expertise in the area. So we this is kind of our competitive advantage, and we talk to high-level government officials all the time, and they do want to open up the sector, but they do need advice from the people they trust, in terms of the policy change, evolutions, and also the foreign partnerships. So all the deal we have done previously, most of them do have international angles, including our partnership with News Corp, Rupert Murdoch, our partnership with DreamWorks to establish a greenfield company called Oriental DreamWorks, one of the very few projects with very close partnership with Hollywood. So we do see an opening.
Yeah. So in terms of cross-border investment, both inbound and outbound, you mentioned a couple of projects. Are there any challenges? I mean, we don't see like thousands of those deals going on. We see some. The question is, when will we see a bigger volume, and when will we see a bigger return on the investment?
We the media and industry wasn't an industry previously for historical reason with pretty much government mouthpiece at the time, but with the opening of China as a whole, and the internet, the kind of the impact of internet to the entertainment sector, so the government does want to stay relevant. So they do realize that so it's a new world. So they have to open up. They have to get aligned with outside world. So they are in discussion with many parties for them to come up with a roadmap on their own pace. They don't want get pressure like from the foreign governments to tell them what they do. But so they do have different committees. They have different commissions to do studies and also talking to the private sectors to help them out to draft a course. And the challenge for us is because there are not many successful multinational media companies in China to begin with. So the talents are very limited, who can have the expertise to talk to both the local entrepreneurs, the local regulators, and also the foreign partners to make things to work. This is one of the reasons that you don't see many projects like that. But we are seeing more and more, both in inbound and outbound.
Perry, what's your view?
Yeah, in terms of inbound investments into China, the digital media sector remains, widely referred as the TMT sector, remains probably the hottest area for for investments. Yesterday, Rebecca and I were in another panel, and we talked about the successes in the China's venture world. And the three generations of successes started with the 2000 through 2003, the Sina Sohu NetEase, followed by the second wave of the BAT, and then now the third wave, companies like Chui and YY. So these are major successes, and which has also cultivated the entire venture capital industry in China. And we believe this trend will continue, and the next trend will come. And in fact, personally, I anticipate this probably going to come in the next 2 to 3 years. And my personal guess would be the next wave will be focused on mobile technology.
But in terms of contents, do you see the Chinese regulators or the Chinese government would play if you like, a stumbling block in terms of the potential investment trends in this area?
Yes and no. Just have an example. Our partnership with Rupert Murdoch. We bought the controlling stake of their assets in China. Called Star. And so we basically added a production business which produce China Got Talents and also the hottest show and general entertainment show in China right now, the Voice of China. And the format was from overseas. At one point, the government talked to people, including us, into whether to put some limitation on the format that China can import. And then we discussed with them, this is just a format, and with the successful formats, then you can do lots of things, and many of the formats, can, if you do well, you can use it to conform to the mainstream, value system in China. There's also no conflict. So don't do too much out of it. For a particular show using particular format, then you need to have a granted license. With a censorship and so forth. But you don't need to do anything on the format itself, and the government listens and agrees. So then you see all of a sudden, for the last years or two, then all of a sudden, most of the hottest general entertainment of reality shows are based on the following formats, and the operators, TV operators, and content producers did pay for those formats. 2 years ago, probably there was not much payment to them at all. They were all just copycats.
True. Perry, your view?
I think the government obviously wants to have at least a control in terms of what kind of content people in this country are seeing. But increasingly, I think they have also been experimenting, at least in the areas that's less controversial, to allow much more market-oriented practice and formats to be introduced. The flourish of all kinds of, for instance, voice-related, basically competitive songs and reality shows in China, they have done very well, both in terms of commercial and also increase of China's status, at least in Asia, of its content. I was in Taiwan recently, and I actually saw in some of the major TV stations, they're actually broadcasting those shows that are shot in China. They have widely also participated. Their candidates has also participated in these contests in mainland China. All these, I think, were to large I would say, to large credit to the producers and also to those stations who are able to take advantage of this relaxation in some of these formats.
I mean, given the cultural differences between China and the West, what do you see will be interesting for the Chinese company who want to invest outbound? What sort of, what channel, what media, what forum, or what channel can they go through, and what type of company or assets they will be interested to acquire?
No, there are lots of Western assets in China who are on the block for sale and for partnership. For any of the major deals, do have teams and advisors and bankers to look for Chinese partners. Partly due to the fact that the U.S. media market it's a kind of mature market. There's not much growth at all, and there's probably more consolidation in Hollywood as a whole. So there won't be as many studios going forward. So they to survive, they need to have fresh capital, and they need to have expand their business into the new markets. So they all want to have the China angle. China will be the second largest media market in China after the U.S. So there's all the assets in there. But the problem is that if you do anything, what kind of value add? Other than helping those companies to expand their business in China. For that, a JV can do the work. Instead of investing into the holding company where you don't have the talents to manage, and if they are in trouble, then what can you do anything? So if it's a JV, if there's trouble and we know the talents here, we know the management team, then we can do a restructure ourselves to control our risk. So the lack of talents who can have international experience and who can manage Western companies is probably the biggest challenge. So there's no shortage of money, and then there's no shortage of desire, both from the government side and from the private sector side, to buy those assets, which are perceived relatively cheap. Yeah.
From my vantage point, I want to say there are generally speaking two kinds of assets that recently have become very strong candidates for Chinese technology companies, specifically in the internet sector. One is the gaming content, and then the other one is the social interaction applications. Companies such as Tencent, for instance, they acquired assets in California as well as in countries like Korea. And as you probably have noticed, there is a large repurpose of some of the cacao-related content on WeChat. And these are, I think, some of the very smart things Tencent has done by investing in cacao, and then try to get a chance to observe how they are able to monetize basically the social platforms and turn it into a monetization engine. The other one is the social platform itself. The Chinese people love to text each other. They love to interact with each other. This not only, I think to a large extent, this is also a culture that has been developed by the text, by basically SMS 10, 20 years ago. And then many of these technologies now you can widely see here in China, and then that's also some of the investments like some of the major Chinese companies are acquiring in the U.S. Tencent, for instance, I think was at one point acquired ICQ, probably also for the same reason. And then these applications and technologies can be ported into China and can be very easily integrated into the existing platforms. And then the channel for big corporations in China to do that is no different than acquisitions happens in the U.S., which is to the largest extent they happened at a boardroom. And then the Chinese tech companies are also increasingly sophisticated to get access to the venture community in the U.S. And through the introduction of the venture backers, they're able to talk to the companies. And then many of these transactions took place behind the scene like this.
What's interesting is in May this year, I actually took one of our clients to Europe to look at the film industry. and potential foreign direct investment into China. One of the challenges that we met with this client when we're going through various studios in Paris and London and Cannes, actually the biggest challenge for foreigners to invest in China is the biggest concern is talents and also government regulations. So we talked a lot about Guangxi earlier on. Whilst it's important to build a Guangxi in China, but we all know political parties or political leaders do get changed regularly. So do you see that still a main part in terms of attracting investment? Because you could be investing a lot of time and building the Guangxi or relationship with the government, and they change. And because the local talents, would they really stand up to the challenge?
Actually, the regulation, is always, behind the market, So we see, change of the government, the policy is actually very stable. So, so that's what we have been telling our, foreign friends that, you shouldn't expect any dramatic regulation change in the media sector. From the new administration, the media sector, why it's important. Now, it's not in the, it's at the forefront of the government priorities. They have, employment, they have, economic growth, they have many issues. But, so, although the regulations stay the same, but under the surface, things are changed relatively fast. With the internet, with entrepreneurship of Chinese people, and with the demand, particularly from the youngsters. So there are more and more opportunities in this sector. So you shouldn't wait until the regulation change for you to get in. If you don't get in, you will be late.
Anything to add, Perry?
I completely agree with him on this.
Good. Any questions from the floor before I close the panel? Okay. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ning, Perry, and Peter. Let's give them a round of applause.